Alabama has the third highest number of hospitalizations per capita in the country. Even today, there were about 500 patients in the Huntsville Hospital System, and many of those patients need spiritual support. We heard from the Pastoral Care Unit at UAB today. Staff have been connecting with patients virtually during the pandemic, but in the last month, they have returned to in-person visits.
Visitation restrictions have had to be very strict, and that's been frustrating both for families, for patients, for staff, but we also understand that's important. We have to do that right now and for a good while going forward.
The team delivers words of encouragement between COVID-19 patients and family.